Welcome back to today's Explainer, everyone. Okay, let's just dive right in because we're unpacking Taken Morning's Tech Roundup from April 29, 2026. And honestly, we are looking at a massive, fundamental shift in the industry today. We've spent the last few years totally obsessed with the cloud, but the tide is turning. Artificial intelligence is actually leaving the cloud and moving straight onto our devices, literally right into our pockets. It's a total game changer for privacy, power, and really just how we interact with our tech.
To really grasp what I mean, just look at the sheer chaotic pace of the last month. It's been a whirlwind. We kicked off on March 11th with Google buying Wiz, and then bam, rapid-fire updates. April 13th, the Redmi A7 Pro drops. April 24th, Samsung gets slapped with a massive lawsuit. Just days later, OpenAI phone rumors totally shake the market. ElevenLabs drops a huge update, and then Honor reveals the Magic 6 on the 29th. The landscape is literally changing weekly, if not daily right now. It's wild.
So, to make sense of all this madness, we're breaking today's headlines down into 4 parts. First, the offline AI revolution. Second, democratized voice and deepfakes. Third, the massive cloud security move. And finally, hardware wars and market shifts. Let's get right into it.
All right, Section 1, the offline AI revolution, or as I like to think of it, smart without the internet. So the big philosophical shift here. Until now, your phone's AI features mostly just beamed your data up to some remote server. Well, now those AI brains are moving straight into the physical devices we carry around all day. $10 billion. Just let that sink in for a second. That is the massive 5-year investment commitment Honor just made. They are completely transforming their whole identity from a traditional phone maker into a full-blown AI device company. And you don't just drop $10 billion unless you're completely re-architecting your hardware for the future. And here is exactly what that $10 billion bought them. Announced on April 29th, the Honor Magic 6 is totally changing the game. It packs a dedicated generative AI chip, which means you get full on-device processing. No internet connection required at all to generate text, edit your images, or use the smart assistant. Because the data literally never leaves your phone, you get maximum privacy and blistering speed. They are absolutely stepping into the ring to go head-to-head with Apple Intelligence and Google's Gemini Nano.
But Honor definitely isn't the only one eyeing your pocket space. Prominent analyst Ming-Chi Kuo just backed up those huge rumors that OpenAI is entering the mobile space. And OpenAI CEO Sam Altman, he envisions a device that is, quote, quieter than an iPhone. Think about that. The vision is a completely app-free smartphone. It's run entirely by a central AI agent that just handles tasks for you behind the scenes, rather than you having to manually open up a dozen different apps. And the sheer scale of OpenAI's ambition here, it's absolutely massive. They're aiming to pump out 300 to 400 million of these devices every single year by 2028. To actually pull this off by late 2026, they're teaming up with heavyweights like Qualcomm and MediaTek, and they've even tapped Luxshare Precision Industry as their exclusive builder. We're looking at a complete reimagining of what a smartphone even is. Moving on to Section 2, democratized voice and deepfakes, the double-edged sword. We just talked about how secure offline AI hardware can be, but now we really need to pivot to the incredible capabilities and, honestly, the immense societal risks of these new AI software tools, especially when it comes to voice. So, the $11 billion startup ElevenLabs is expanding at a staggering rate. They already supported 52 languages, but they just dropped an update adding 22 new ones. We're talking Korean, Ukrainian, Turkish, and several African languages, bringing the total up to 74. But here's the absolute wildest part. They only need a few seconds, literally just a few seconds of your audio, to flawlessly clone your voice into any of those 74 languages, totally maintaining your unique vocal quirks. So, we're looking at a massive double-edged sword here. On the one hand, the creative possibilities are just amazing, right? Seamless content dubbing, multilingual audiobooks, AI voices for indie games, expanding online education, it's incredible. But we have to impartially look at the massive security risks staring right back at us. The potential for political deepfakes, CEO voice fraud, the rapid spread of fake news, and the absolute collapse of secure voice authentication. This is an insanely powerful tool, and society is frankly still trying to figure out how to handle it safely. Which brings us naturally right into Section 3, the massive cloud security move.
Because as AI demands exponentially more processing power and our data environments get way more complex, protecting cloud infrastructure has escalated into a multi-hundred-billion-dollar global priority.
I really want this number to sink in for a second. $32 billion in cash. On March 11th, Google officially closed its acquisition of the Israeli-American cloud security startup Wiz. This isn't just a big deal. This is the largest acquisition in Google's entire 28-year history. It's the biggest cybersecurity deal ever made, period. And the strategic brilliance behind this is just fascinating. See, Wiz actually rejected a $23 billion offer back in 2024 because they wanted to stay independent. So why take $32 billion now? Because Google made one key guarantee. Wiz will continue to support its clients on Amazon Web Services, Microsoft Azure, and Oracle Cloud. Google is basically turning Wiz into this ubiquitous multi-cloud security platform. That means even Google's biggest cloud competitors are now essentially relying on Google-owned security infrastructure. It's an absolute masterstroke.
All right, last up, Section 4, Hardware Wars and Market Shifts. Let's move downstream from the cloud and get back to consumer hardware, starting with a totally existential legal threat to one of the biggest tech giants on the planet.
Let's break down the details of this threat. On April 24th, a small U.S. company called Lepton Computing LLC hit Samsung with a massive lawsuit in Texas federal court. They are claiming Samsung's entire folding phone lineup, the Galaxy Z Fold, the Z Flip, and the new Z3 Fold, infringes on 9 of their folding tech patents. Their endgame, a total sales ban in the US, plus damages. Now, I know tech blogs like 9to5 Google have been calling Lepton a patent troll, a company that just buys patents to sue people. But the crucial takeaway here is that Samsung has to take this incredibly seriously. Let's not forget, Apple had to cough up $2 billion to Nokia back in 2018 over a similar dispute. If the court sides with the plaintiff here, Samsung is looking at an unthinkable product ban.
Meanwhile, all the way at the exact opposite end of the market spectrum, we have the Redmi A7 Pro 5G, which just dropped in India on April 13th. The value here is pretty extreme. For around $135, you're getting a massive 6.9-inch 120Hz display, a giant 6,300 mAh battery, and a rock-solid guarantee of 4 years of OS updates and 6 years of security updates. It perfectly illustrates how 5G connectivity and killer battery life just aren't luxury features anymore. Now, to be fair, you are stuck with just 4 GB of RAM, so that might bottleneck your heavy multitasking, but for developing markets, the value proposition is just undeniable.
And all of this hardware news is actively shaking up the financial world right now. Just looking at the immediate market impact of those OpenAI smartphone rumors, Qualcomm stock shot up 13%. MediaTek went up 8%. But meanwhile, the traditional leader, Apple, actually saw a 1.7% dip. You can see it clear as day. The promise of radical new AI hardware is literally shifting the global balance of power right before our eyes. So, stepping back and summarizing everything we've looked at from these sources today, we're really left balancing 2 very distinct feelings. On one side, there's pure excitement. We're entering this era of offline AI that actually protects our privacy. We've got democratized content creation that speaks 74 languages and budget hardware that brings next-gen tech to almost everyone. But on the flip side, anxiety. We have to navigate the severe spread of deepfakes, the massive concentration of cloud security power, and these major legal battles that could literally ban flagship devices. It's a complex but thrilling time to be following tech. And that brings us to our final thought for today. With AI officially moving out of the cloud and directly into the chips in our pockets, the very definition of a smartphone is about to change forever. Think about those OpenAI rumors and Honor's new offline chip. I want to leave you with this question to ponder. Are you really ready to trade all your familiar, colorful apps for a single offline AI agent that handles absolutely everything on your phone for you? It's a wild app-free future to think about. Thank you so much for joining me for today's explainer, and I'll catch you next time.